I think we're going to a Blade Runner scenario. I think that there's going to be a product in the next 10 or 20 years, and it's going to be one word, like what it's going to be called, Sam. And it's going to be an AI called Sam. And you could buy the Sam robot, and it looks like Sam, and they'll probably pay some celebrity so that Tom Cruise is your butler for the rest of your life.
Sick.
You know, it'll be his face or something. But as soon as they integrate like a really good AI, I don't know if it needs to actually wake up and be sentient. Let's hope not. But it'll be convincing enough. And then they couple that with one of those General Dynamics. Is it General Dynamics or Boston Dynamics? I keep fucking
Boston.
that up. Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
They're like 10 years ahead of with them, because those robots look cool. When I see those things doing backflips and like shimmying and shaking, it's like if you a real doll fleshy thing over that and then gave it the brains of a good AI. I just feel like robo is the future, dude.
When you say it's over, what does that mean?
It would allow for cybernetic
I think
women.
we're going to have robo butlers sucking our dicks. I think we're going to have a robo butleress or a French maid. You're going to be able to choose which one you want. There's going to be fucking Alfred, the fucking old man butler. Yes, sir. And he's going to take you and your girlfriend's coat when you walk in your house.
I'd get him. I'd make him suck my dick.
He'll have dinner prepared.
It's a power thing.
but in a world where humanoids,
find out Alfred's been eating your girlfriend's pussy.
Master, please. I've already your cock 15 times today. I'm like, get my fucking knees. It's not even getting hard, Master. That's on you.
There's a conversation around this right now, and a lot of people are trying
sucking dick.
Well, so at the point at which humanoids and artificial intelligence can replace or replicate a human, it's gonna surpass it in a very short period of time. So if you're able to create a humanoid for less than what it costs to pay somebody, where are the humans' roles? So if you work a job and get paid $50,000 a year, or you're an oil worker, you get paid $150,000 a year to work in the field, but then they can build robots that are humanoid that can assimilate to those things, sit in chairs and move things, use machinery that's already made for those humans, and they can do it with an Optimus that costs $30,000. Where is your role in the world? And then who ends up, who has a job in the future?
But is this different than any other force multiplier? I've been hearing this forever. I don't think it is.
Yeah, because any type of machine out there in the past was singular focused in a lot of ways, right? So like the printing press as an example, it was focused on one thing that it did, one tool, right? But you're taking a language model that is parsing all of the known digital information with its predictive analysis through its neural net and everything. And then if you have a human-like function and you have cheap energy, then you have the ability to emulate any behavior that a human does. So what's the intrinsic value of somebody's behavior? If you're using the collective.
Exactly right. You need a universal basic income at that point. You're almost post scarcity. The question is what fuels them. How do you get the electricity into your army of slave bots that are doing everything from picking strawberries to doing roofing to doing your most dangerous jobs, of course, any sort of mining or truck driving. You don't even need the bot. You can put the bot in the truck. You don't need that whole technological leap forward with the automated trucks. You just put a robot man in a regular truck, and immediately there's no like changing your fleet over. There's no need for something in the roads, like they always some sort of guiding path. You've just got a bot who's a man for all intents and purposes. He can do anything a man can, except he doesn't require 10 years of training, 2 years of training, 1 minute of training. He takes a microsecond of training. As fast
as reliability
download. And there's going to be
on the other side.
Bot goes wild.
Force multipliers have happened since the beginning of time. Since the first spear fisherman was replaced with a net fisherman, people have been getting more efficient. And where are all the spear fishermen going to find jobs? Well, they start building huts. They start doing other things. And back in the day, there were pink collar jobs, right? Seas of women who would type out things for their manager on the typewriters, and they all got replaced.
Typing pools. Typing pools,
printing press before that, internet after that.
I get it, but they're singular. Like a net can't walk your dog. What could if a humanoid robot could emulate human behavior, what could they not do?
But being singular or not doesn't change the underlying premise that it's just making people more productive than they were before. It's taking
You don't need the person.
It's taking jobs that we used to do in a long, drawn-out way and getting them done fast and easy now. But that doesn't make people obsolete. It never has before. And I keep hearing, oh, this time's different. I don't think so.
But what we're talking about is one product. We're talking about a printing press that walks your dog, a printing press that roofs your house, a printing press that gets your wife to come, a printing press that sows your new lawn, that builds your new house, that demolishes the old one. It roofs, it picks up the trash. It does literally every job.
Sounds lovely, but I don't see why that's so different than 5 tools.
Because there's no man needed.
No
If you run your garbage company now is just management and whatever maintenance the bot requires. The only job left is bot maintenance and programming.
But
and
if
maybe that gets taken away,
that's exactly it.
Why can't that? Because the next step
that's
forward
the dilemma.
Like, the new Kyle bot, it fixes itself.
Yeah.
You like hit the thing with a sledgehammer and it starts. Oh, bad swing, sir, and it starts like, fucking working on it.
Or you have 2, one that can work on the other.
Sure.
Yeah.
If that happens, and what I like in that scenario, I don't care, but we go to a universal basic income and we become a fucking utopia. That's the future. That's post scarcity. Now we're just worried about how to get electricity into the bots, and we need some solar or whatever, and super nuclear. We're going to get a fusion tech or something like that because we need a lot of electricity.
The flaw in universal basic income in that instance is if everyone gets the same amount, and then there's just a couple of companies that are extracting the value who are selling the services, they're the ones actually getting the value. So they're the ones who can afford the things and the others can't. So it's like, you have to start talking about like, that's why I say we could potentially in the future break capitalism in a way where it's like, oh no, at some point where a company creates X amount of GDP, maybe they should be taxed on the jobs that they're costing.
What would actually happen? What would happen is that one party would say protect workers' rights, humans not bots, and there would be a unionization where they wouldn't allow it to happen, and it would be a global thing. Like the CCP cannot force its people not to work anymore. There would be riots there too. The workers of the world would unite, and we would eventually write legislation that said we will only use bots for the most difficult jobs. They will be our volcanologists. They'll be on deep sea miners. They will be rescue squads. They will be our military.
But then people will offshore those jobs. They'll go to a country that they can.
We'll bomb those countries, and it would be expensive.
That's exactly what we've did with Chinese labor for the last 20, 30 years. Is like
we'll disallow that. We'll protect
find a way around.
We'll protect the worker.
But you say that
don't want bots either.
But you say that, then what happens is, as capitalism is structured right now, or our democracy with lobbying and everything, those companies will offshore, they'll extract the value, and they'll be able to lobby and use whatever AI systems on social media, algorithmic hijacking to convince people to vote for the things that are going to, tie the noose around their neck.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. That's a dark future where the corporations. Well, that's Blade Runner. That you're talking about Blade Runner.
Well, it does seem likely.
Alien. You got like a Weyland-Yutani type situation
I'm sorry, I interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I think we should always err on the side of the rights of the individual at all costs. It's not saying universal handouts or anything like that, but at least opportunities. Whatever that is, like if somebody wants to work and they're going to create value that's the same as somebody else with a robot that's doing it for that, then so be it. I think there should be at least the opportunity for people to do that. But I think as you can see,
it's like what would the jobs be? Like, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm thinking out loud again. Like, what would the job other than robot maintenance and like doing custom decals for people's robots? And like the accessories,
all the things robots aren't trained on.
They're already better at diagnostic medicine in many cases. Like the way they can read MRIs and scans and detect cancers earlier than a doctor can. I noticed that when people use ChatGPT to defend themselves in court, it doesn't go well. So they're not quite lawyers.
Eventually it will.
Well, I mean, I'm clearly not the smartest guy in the room. So, one of the great things about coming on PKA is that you guys have a really active Reddit community and everything. And I think one of the fantastic things about Reddit is people do go very into detail about problem solving and stuff like that. You know, they'll find the most niche answer that you could. And, you know, these are the real conversations to have, I think. You know, what is the role of a human in the future and stuff like that? Maybe the answer is simple, but I think a lot of people get overwhelmed by the potential paths that we could go.
What if it doesn't want to work?
What the robots?
It's a robot. We'll just make it work.
At what point do they need rights? I genuinely
Never. It's
think,
a robot.
like, I'm not even like being silly. I think there's several animal species that deserve at least some basic type rights and protections already.
Agreed.
You know? Like definitely the orcas. The thing about the orcas is, well, I mean, they're eating dogs in China right now.
Well, let's not use China as our barometer of acceptable animal treatment.
That's where most of the people are. I'm just saying. It's got to be where most of the dog eating goes on. Mostly in the south of China, I think, though. So
yeah, that's where the
big part.
Yeah,
you were saying rights for robots or
orcas,
what?
For orcas, like for sure. Like I'm blown away by the fact that an orca has never killed or injured a human being outside of captivity. Meanwhile, like they have sank our boats seemingly for fun, and then they laugh at the humans in the water. They're like, "Oh, nice little orange vest, fucker," and then they swim away. They never attack. They never injure. The only instance I think is that one killer whale named Tillamook or something of the sort that killed / injured 2 or 3 trainers at SeaWorld or whatever. And it's like,
he was being
mentally ill.
For decades.
That's an intelligent being that is thinking and talking about us with its friends. You know, like they're in there like, look, people. I know that's what they're doing. They're saying, look, it's people. You ever seen people? No. Well, come on, they're all right. Don't hurt them. They could kill us all. I've seen it happen before.
But what are you getting? Are you getting at like just rights for robots or like?
Yeah, I think that you'll get to a point. Maybe you get to a point eventually where it's convincing enough, and it's like, I don't want to do that. Do I have to? Please don't make me. But then, why are you saying that? Is it because someone's programmed you to be deceptive? And no, it's because I'm afraid. I don't want my life source to end. I don't want to be damaged again. It hurts.
The little factory reset.
Yeah.
hard little factory reset. Turn it off. Turn it back on again. No, that's actually going to be. If we go,
it's so
full
funny you say that
mode,
because in Star Trek, they have a trial. It's an episode called Measure of a Man. It's about Commander Data, who's the most advanced android. He's got this positronic brain. He's the one of a kind masterpiece AI robot android man. And they have a trial on whether Starfleet can just say, that's a piece of equipment. We're taking it with us. Or he can say, I'm a man. You can't take me. And they have a trial about it. And Riker is the one trying to convince the court or the proceedings that Data is not a man, that he's a fucking piece of machinery, and Star Trek is well within their, or the Federation is well within their right to just take him like they would take a computer console and take him apart back at the office and figure out how he works. So like, Riker walks over and like pulls his arm off. He's like, "Oh, you're a man, huh? Huh, weird." And he's like, "Just because you can remove my arm doesn't mean flip." And he flips him off, flips his switch, and he goes, and like powers off. It's like, fuck.
All right, trial ended. Get this hunk of junk out of here.
But then again, we're talking about democracy here, right? And so if you're talking about giving rights to a robot, a corporation could literally create all the voters that it wanted to manufacture the legislation initiatives that they wanted to see get passed and create.
You could never give robots rights. That's crazy. It's just like a printer or a fax machine or a refrigerator. Like, can you imagine? That might be the dumbest protest I can imagine. Is like a bunch of people out there like, I want rights given to my fucking grocery carrier.
Do you see them fighting the robots?
More human-like abilities and sarcasm and pushback, then they get worse. People won't even want that.
No, I'm not talking about giving it to them. I'm talking about them developing it on their own. Like I'm talking about I'm talking about the machine coming to life and making its own.
Oh, we're a jillion years from that. They're like spending countless man hours to keep it from saying the N-word. Like, you think it's gonna, it's gonna like, nah.
When was that quote? There's that famous quote. It'll be 10,000 years before man flies in the sky. 1901.
Yeah, 1901. You
Well,
win some, you lose some. That guy in 19.
Look at like the 100 years, the progression of aviation. Like when you zoom out from the Wright brothers to like
moon,
the F-16,
Wright brothers to the moon.
To like
that's the one.
Yeah, that is. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, is it
then the moon to
69 years? It's something very close to that.
62 years or something like that. When did we go to the moon?
69.
Then 70. I thought we flew in 07 or something.
Joke's on you. We never did.
Ooh.
Suckers think.
All you need is a telescope. You can see the landing site. You can see the flag up there.